Hey guys, welcome to another week of the Way Vlog. Thank you so much for coming on, being a part. Thank you for being faithful and watching and all this stuff. We know that you don't have to, but you do. Hey, we are in a brand new series that we titled Friendships. Week 1, we talked about what is a friend, what does it look like, but remember that friendship is influence. That most of us don't even think about influence when we think about friendship, but that's exactly what it is. Last week we talked about James chapter 4 and the importance of evaluating our motives as a friend, right? And so today what we want to talk about, there's a problem in the world, it's called postmodernism. I feel so smart saying that. I feel so smart saying postmodernism, which is simply the belief that whatever you do that makes you feel good, whatever that makes you happy is right. And that's a really dangerous way to believe. It's a really dangerous thing for us to walk, but that's a lot of things that people have adopted. People have adopted this new thing and they drug it into the church and they pulled it into the relationship with God, that whatever feels right must be right. But what this does is that this takes us out of relationship with God, because if you don't answer to anybody, if only you do is answer to you and you make your own right and wrong, then what do you need a God for? What do you need that for? And so what's super important is that we get away from this postmodernism. We come back into relationship with God, right? But today we want to talk about people in the Bible that acted this way. They were called the people of Israel. And in the book of Judges, it says,
Judges 21:25 says this: in those days, Israel had no king, and everyone did as they saw fit.
Break it down.
All right. So the book of Judges. This is early on in Israel's history, where Israel just got into something called the Promised Land. Joshua led them into the Promised Land. They were supposed to take out everybody within the Promised Land, and nobody else was supposed to stay there. It was supposed to be their land that God had given them. But the issue is they got comfortable.
This land is yours. Sorry.
The issue is
land is mine.
These people got comfortable, and they decided, well, I only need this much. Why do I have to go further and do more, right? And so they said, there's no reason to go further and do more, even though that's what God called them to do.
Right.
Why do I need to push any more people out of the land?
Doesn't it just sound like a normal human response? Like, I really should do all this, but this is good enough.
Right. And so they got comfortable, and I mean, it sounds bad that they were supposed to push everybody out of the land, but we also have to understand something, that these people that were in the land were evil. They were horrible people. They actually sacrificed kids, their babies. Right? Man. That's what they thought was worship to their gods.
Just cut down younglings.
That's
all
right.
Over the place.
And so they thought that was actually good sacrifice to their gods. And so God was bringing judgment on these people as well. But Israel chose to do things their way. And then even further, while they were staying in this land, they began to actually adopt the practices of those people from that land. And that actually led to them continually throughout the book of Judges. They went from this decent nation. I want to say good nation, but decent nation.
Decent.
They began this downward spiral all the way down to where they began to do things that they thought were good. You can see stories of people that sacrificed their own kids. And this is Israel. They're following the same practices of the people before them, but they thought it was good because everybody else was doing it.
Man.
They did whatever they saw was fit. You see people that are going in and doing dumb things, like they thought, oh man, this whole tribe is about to be destroyed. Let's go steal these women from this other tribe.
What?
And all the tribes were like, yeah, it's a good idea. What? Why is that okay? There's another guy who actually was getting involved with the enemy and actually allowing himself, he was supposed to be the leader of the nation, and he's allowing himself to get involved with this enemy. They did whatever they saw was fit for themselves. Yep. They followed their own feelings and their own emotions.
Not good.
This is the book of Judges. The book Judges is a book that shows what happened to this nation that began to be influenced by others. They moved away from God, and every story from the book shows how much worse they got. Worshipping idols, child sacrifices, and even stealing daughters from ceremony of another tribe. This led Israel into a downward spiral of destruction. The only examples of a stable nation to them were other nations around them, so they followed their lead. They followed what these other people did. They did as they saw fit. If it works for them, it should work for me then too. They did not change their example. They didn't allow themselves to be influenced by God. They were influenced by these other people around them because they thought, man, if it works for them, then it has to work for me. So they did as they saw fit, not remembering God as their primary influence because they had followed the lead of others for so long. Their faith in God was dead.
The book of Judges is a sad story about a chosen people, a chosen nation that was dragged away by God and was left up to whatever they saw fit. Now, it begs to ask this question: what kind of life are you living? And are you living the life just by what you think you see fit? And what kind of relationships do you have in your life that are pulling you in the wrong direction, right? Like, there's that classic example. If I were to stand on a chair, it would be easier for Pastor Alex to pull me down than it would be for me to pull him up, right? In our relationship with God, it's so easy for us to get distracted and be around people that pull us down, that pull us to their level, that pull us to this postmodernism that says, hey, whatever you feel is right is great. Like, that's awesome. Like, that is just the intricate lie that's been woven into our culture that's like, hey, whatever you feel is good, you should do that. Jesus? I don't know. Whatever you feel is good, you should do that. But that's not where we want to go. And I want you to ask yourself this question: who are you hanging around with? And are they pushing you towards God, or are they pulling you away from God? Right. And are you living your life as you see fit, or how God sees fit? Because those two things are very different. Guys, thanks so much for watching, being a part. We love you so much. There's big things happening in the next few weeks. More announcements are going to come, but like, we are working towards an in-person gathering.
Come on.
Like, in-person youth service. Let's go. I'm so excited. More information's coming. We love you. Have a great week.